Hello everyone, and thank you for clicking on this. This is Disc Review, of course, and this week we have another review for you, as we always do. We've been pretty consistent with them, and we're just going to keep pumping them out. So, my name is Max Allen.
Hey, what's up? I'm Matt, talking about BadXChannels today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's how do you think it's supposed to be said? Is it BadXChannels or just Bad
Probably
Channels?
just BadChannels, and I just like calling it BadXChannels because that's how I read it. But
it makes it a little
just
goofier for sure.
It just is BadChannels, probably.
Okay.
But,
BadChannels, aka Craig Owens' musical project from 2016. So this is going to be kind of an interesting conversation because we've both been fans of Craig Owens as a singer for, different projects and like different things that he's done. And this one kind of is very different from a lot of the other stuff that he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's kind of interesting about this EP is like we listened to it when it was coming out, 2016, and I feel like it's been a while now. Probably have some new takes, some new perspectives. I feel like we usually, have held this in pretty high regard, decently high regard, I guess. I don't know if now this is my favorite Craig Owens thing, because he's done a lot of different projects, a lot of different styles, and I think that's cool. But it was kind of fun to go back on this one, and yeah, I mean, you want to hop into the first track?
Sure. Well, the first track is One Car Funeral. I would say that this song showcases the sound that is pretty consistent throughout the whole EP. In fact, as I was listening, I realized that you can kind of sum up the whole EP with this one song because all the songs sound pretty similar with like slight deviations. I mean, I won't say that they're not memorable because I've listened to this EP quite a bit, and so I know the songs, and it wasn't like hard for me to pick them out, but it's got a very consistent sound with few parts that actually stray away from that. It's very synthy and bass driven. It's also got some acoustic guitar in some sections, which I think was pretty cool. This project, I'm pretty sure, was all self-produced and was created right after Chiodos broke up. So I didn't like, well, I'll say this sound is very different from Chiodos. And so as a kid, when I was a very big Chiodos fan, when Chiodos broke up and then Craig Owens decided to start doing this, it wasn't that I disliked it, but I was more wishing that he would do more stuff like Chiodos at that time. But I still thought that this sound was solid, and I thought that if he would have continued it, it probably could have gone somewhere. Unfortunately, he did not continue it. This was a one-and-done EP. I think he released one more song under this name and then kind of gave it up.
I mean, he released a couple extra songs, but yeah, I mean, 2019 was the last release. But I kind of agree with what you said. It's an intro song for sure. It just sums up the style. If you like the style, you'll like what's to come. Is definitely my take on this first song. I don't think this is the catchiest song on the EP, and not my favorite for that reason, but I think it's a good, like, little, test of if you like this style, and I think I've always had the opinion this one's solid, but not my favorite.
I definitely agree with that, I think. The next song is You Know I Will. This song has a few good lines. I like the line, I mix my vices with vice. It makes the devil on my shoulder seem nice. But other than that, this song is just not for me, I think. I don't know why it's so popular in our culture, but I just don't really find cheating on your partner cool, which is kind of what this song leans on. I also just can't picture Craig Owens as this like tough bad boy who's out there banging your girl, so I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of sexual songs anyways, so that's just, a personal preference.
This entire record is pretty suggestive, I would say. It's kind of what he's going for. I mean, the best part of the song for me is the lyrics, because at least some of the lines are clever. Whether or not I like the message or whatever, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying I think the lines themselves are objectively clever sometimes, like you said. And yeah, it's not the most, it's a longer song. It's more like telling a story. It's got a feature with the rap section. I like the feature. I just wish the instrumental was a little more, had more to going on for him to work with. It's pretty much just the same, you know, four measures repeated throughout the entire rap section. But uh, yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the lowest streams on the EP, so I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say that it's just not as good as some of the other ones. But the next song, track 3, is Dotted Lines, and I would say this is probably the best song on the EP for me. It's got some good melodies and a really strong chorus. I also think that the song just gives Craig Owens a good opportunity to show off his unique high voice. I enjoyed the lines, ask me what it's like on top, ask me what it feels like to be dropped, because it's, as far as the metalcore community goes, Craig Owens was, a bona fide father of the scene. He, not just from Chiodos, but also from his other band D.R.U.G.S, which has just been revitalized with a new album that sounds like it's straight out of 2015. But like, he was big, and then Chiodos stopped and D.R.U.G.S stopped, and then he was kind of left with this, I guess, which is not a bad sound, but it didn't perform nearly as well as some of his other projects.
Yeah, I mean, this song has some good melodies, particularly the chorus, and like you said, I think this is where you get some classic Craig Owens vocals. So that's what's fun about this song for me. It's just the vocals and some melodies there on the chorus. I haven't really a lot of the lyrics I haven't paid that much attention to. I think the next one, Complicated, uh, is more memorable to me. I think it just has I just feel like it has the best melodies on the track, and also has a good feature.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably my favorite on the record, even if the lyrical content is definitely very similar to You Know I Will, very very suggestive. But I mean, it's got really good melodies.
Yeah, Complicated is an interesting song. It's one of the better songs on the EP, but it's got a pretty problematic feature. I don't know if you know much about Tyler Carter.
I know nothing about the guy. I don't know anything. I just heard his voice. So if you want to
He's
fill
got
us
an
in,
amazing voice, incredible singer. He's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, he was the singer for Issues, which is
Okay.
another kind of heavy band. And he was recently kicked out. I say recently, it was probably over a year ago. He was recently kicked out because of sexual assault allegations. And
Okay.
usually with allegations, I try to just not talk about it, stay out of it, because I don't know, and I wasn't there. But the band also released a statement that was pretty much like, yeah, we definitely believe the allegations. Like, this guy sucks, and we don't want to have him in our band anymore. So, yeah, it's just kind of weird to have a song that's, pretty suggestive, also
True.
featuring a pretty sucky dude.
Well, that taints it. So now that I know that, I guess Boo Complicated, and
Yeah.
probably the best song on the record has now been tainted. So God, maybe that's why it's
Yeah.
kind of been stepping away from BadXChannels, as I call it.
Yeah, you know what though? I have to say I do love Tyler Carter's voice. I think that he kind of rips off Johnny Craig's style a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But it fit the song well, I'll say that. So the last song on the EP, it's a pretty short EP.
Yeah.
Saying Same Thing Every Day. This song has a pretty banger chorus.
Yeah, it's the
The
best part.
verses are decent, but not very memorable for me. I
Pretty
really like the
subdued
synth.
in the verse. In the
Yeah.
bridge, yeah.
I think that's got a synth that's very unique and probably one of my favorite synths on the whole EP. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you said everything I think about it. It's got the feature I just noticed was pretty big. I don't know if they were this big at the time. 2 million monthly listeners right now. Never heard
Oh.
of them. Don't know how big they were when this came out, because I don't feel like this was a big project. Really. Everyone else here is pretty small. They're as small as BadXChannels, but
I actually didn't even realize that it had a feature. I guess maybe I didn't pay that much
I think
attention.
it's in like an
Let me look at
instrumental
this.
feature. I think like they wrote a song
Okay.
or something with him, or that's kind of my
Yeah, they are
understanding.
pretty big. I've never heard of
Yeah.
them, but That's impressive. Speaking of Craig Owens working with some pretty big names, I didn't look this up because I forgot, but I should have. I'm pretty sure that he worked on like a Jay-Z song. Like he wasn't like featured on it or anything, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
he was
that's
part of the
funny.
writing process a while ago. So that he's worked with some pretty big names. He's done some pretty big things, but he's also decently underground, especially for people who aren't in the metal scene. Most people have not heard of him, but he seems to be doing okay for himself, especially because he hasn't put out music in a really long time, except for just recently. But I think that he's still chilling. I mean, he kind of just tours doing acoustic sets of songs that he wrote 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you do what works, you know. But yeah, I didn't really know what he was up to, but definitely had an interesting past. I feel like we'll probably talk about him again at some point, and he was on that 100 Gex remix album, which I thought was
Oh, I
really interesting to
forgot
see him
about
working
that.
with the likes
With
of
Fall Out
Fall Out
Boy.
Boy. Like that's just kind of funny or interesting that he's still in on that in the music scene for sure. Even if I'd say yeah, he is a lot smaller, more underground now.
I heard rumors that he also dated the chick from Twilight.
I haven't heard that, but yeah, that's a funny
Um,
rumor.
I just realized that I don't even think we mentioned the name of this EP. It's WHYDFML. Do you know what that would stand for?
No,
I figure I can guess some of it, but I don't know what it.
probably no, and I've never given it much thought.
I
Hopefully,
haven't either. In fact, I didn't even realize it was titled
I
this
know.
until I just barely looked at it.
I just refer to by the artist name since there's only one EP. Not much confusion there, but I mean overall thoughts on the EP. I think I've kind of grown away from it as time gone on. It was edgy music in 2016 for sure, and I thought that was probably what I thought was cool about it. But uh, no hate for it, but I probably don't listen to it as much anymore.
I think that if he had continued this type of style, he would
Like
have made
evolved it,
he
and
would have
yeah,
evolved it and it would have become better. I
yeah,
think that this was his first stab at this type of music and it wasn't bad, but I think that there's other artists that do this sound better. And
yeah,
so I don't really go back to it. And especially because there's not a lot of songs that he put out. And so, it gets old kind of fast, I guess, because I've listened to these same 5 or 6 songs for a few years now. And so I think that it's definitely not bad. You're right on that, but it's not as memorable or like a staple of the genre, I would say. It's kind of just a decent attempt at doing this style.
yeah. I agree, but yeah, thanks for checking out BadX Channels or Bad Channels, whatever you want to call it. Ask Craig Owens what it's called.
I will
Uh,
ask Craig Owens. Actually, I DM'd Craig Owens once because I had a song that I was writing, and I asked him to title the song because he's pretty known for giving pretty goofy titles.
for sure.
And he messaged me back and he gave me a title, and it
That's
was
funny.
definitely weird.
I always thought it's
That was
weird that
forever
like
ago.
I just feel like if I was a celebrity, I would just turn off my DMs or whatever. I just never look because it
I
wouldn't it just be
I'm sure a lot do.
an influx of just insane spam. But I don't know actually the reality of it. Maybe it is just a couple chill people, you know. Just
I
not
would assume it's insane spam.
that's what I would assume. But
How many
funny
how
that he got
many
back to you.
high school bands do you think message him every day asking if
Oh
he'll
no.
check out their music?
Oh no. Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you gonna weed through all that? Oh man.
Hmm.
Well, not even worth the time. But I mean, yeah, we've had some cool responses. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I like some other Craig Owens stuff better. So how about you reach out to Craig Owens when we review something I really love? How
All
about
right, sounds good.
that?
Well,
Anyways,
we'll end this one here. We're about to record another episode, actually, and pretty excited about that one. So if you're done listening to this one, go check out some of our other stuff, please. It would mean a lot to us. We're on Spotify and YouTube right now, so whatever floats your boat and works for you, please check us out there at Disc Review. And let us know what else we should review, because we want to just, put out content that people like, and we want to review something interesting. I'd love to review something that neither of us have ever heard. I think that would be really interesting. So if someone wants to comment something and tell us, something obscure but good, I would definitely be down to check it out.
Yeah, requests are, we want them. We're looking for things to review that, because otherwise we're just pulling from what we like. So hopefully we'll get some soon.
Alrighty, thanks for listening. Bye.